Hello everyone, very good evening to all the viewers of the legal game. Hello all of you to your one-stop solution for all your law entrance examinations. And this is Kushagra Goyal, your educator for the CLAT examination and all your doubts related to current affairs. Now, on December 6th, as we begin a new week, there is a requirement for us to know a little more, know about certain new things that have happened and will transpire through this week. So as I am recording and as I am illustrating, news has poured down from Myanmar that Aung San Suu Kyi has been given imprisonment of 4 years. So there are more updates from the coup in Myanmar. That becomes a very important, pertinent issue for us. Then at the same time, as the parliament session carries on this entire week, then also we have more and more requirement to learn about what new comes in the parliament. There is a likelihood that the cryptocurrency regulation bill will be placed in the parliament this week. So that is one of the very important bills. It's a very important area of law that we have to be prepared for. Then yesterday there has been an important and you can say a rather sad event that has happened, where in an army operation there have been 14 civilians who were killed because of firing from the army as per an operation which has now gone wrong. So it has resurrected the entire debate related to Armed Forces Special Powers Act, or AFSPA as we know it. So all those things we will be connecting the dots today in regard to that. So let's move on. On the front page is the big news about army operation in Nagaland goes awry, 15 civilians dead. What has happened in this operation? So Nagaland since the very beginning has been a troublesome for the Union of India. The Nagas or the tribes there do not completely adhere to the structure with which we have become accustomed to. Their traditions are far more different than what we have, and therefore there is a differentiation that takes place between the way they work and the way we work. Okay, so thus we have to be aware of those things. Now in regard to that, in 2015 and in 2017, two agreements were reached out for a mediation between two primary groups in Nagaland. We will talk about them also. However, ever since the trouble has begun in Nagaland, the area has been under Armed Forces Special Powers Act, or AFSPA is what we call it. The AFSPA Act provides special powers to the army to deal with areas where there has been disturbance. Now, this entire state of Nagaland is also under the AFSPA regime. That is, the entire state is considered to be a problem area. So first let's see what has happened. So in the events in AFSPA, army got notification. Now which corps commanders of the army have been informed, that also becomes important for us to note down. Okay, so the first thing that we have to note down is army's third corps based in Dimapur town. They were given the information that probably insurgents are traveling in the cavalier. However, it was not the insurgents but actually who? The civilians who were working in the nearby mines. So who carried out the attack on the civilians? It was done by the paramilitary forces of Assam Rifles, who are headquarters in Mon. The information came from Army's 3 corps. It was poured down to Assam Rifles, which is the paramilitary force there. They carried out the operation. After civilians were killed, other civilians in the area torched the army buildings. They started protesting. In regard to curb the protest, army imposed section 144 and curfew. Internet suspended, then curfew imposed to rule out the protest. In that regard, more firing was done by the armed forces, and then further 7 to 8 civilians have passed away. And in response to tackling the violence that was now springing up in the area, all of this was happening throughout the late evening to the late hours. In that, a soldier also passed away while trying to subsidize the violence. So for us, what becomes important? Where the violence has taken? Oting village in Mon district. Mon is the headquarters of Assam Rifles, which have carried out the attack. The information was given to Army's 3 corps. The army has called the event as unfortunate, and the CM there has called for investigation, and the Home Minister, the Ministry of Home Affairs, which then directly controls the area, whichever is under AFSPA, they will now, the Home Minister has also extended his condolences. But let's look at what is AFSPA. AFSPA, that was created in 1958, okay, Armed Forces Special Powers Act. In 1958 is a special law that grants powers to the Indian Armed Forces to maintain public order in disturbed areas. Okay, areas that have violence as its root cause of disturbance. Okay, so in such areas which have continuously have had violence and disturbance, those areas are governed by the army directly and not by the state police. So usually क्या होता है? In normal scenarios, it is the state police that has the state government that has law and order under its control. But just like a union territory where the central government rules, in disturbed areas, central government has created a special law wherein the armed forces, they have direct control of policing responsibility. Okay, so and on June 30th 2021, the entire Nagaland was declared under AFSPA for 6 more months. So what do we need to know? हमें क्या समझने की बात है? एक नॉर्मल स्टेट है, ठीक है, नॉर्मल सिनेरियो में लॉ एंड ऑर्डर is with the state police. Okay, it is with state police. However, when an area is a disturbed area, in that regard, the state police does not have control, but the armed forces, they have control over law and order or policing. Okay, they carry out this duty of policing in the area. Now, what are these unique powers under AFSPA that creates it such a scenario? So under AFSPA, armed forces get the power to investigate, search, seizure, arrest any person without warrant. And if you want to sue anyone for violation of AFSPA, then you have to gain permission from the Home Ministry to do the same. You cannot, let's say, an army officer transgresses his duty, okay, and then you want to take measures against him. Those measures usually you would carry out by, let's say, you will go to the police station and file a complaint against such an officer. But if you want to take a complaint against an army officer, then you need permission from the central government to do the same. Usually, in normal police scenarios, the police needs search warrants, the police needs arrest warrants, the police also needs reasonable reason to actually take up any action, deterrent action. Under AFSPA, if the army officer is of the opinion that there is a grave threat or danger arising, he or she has the power to even shoot. So this is something that is an extraordinary power that has been given to the police, to the armed forces to deal with such scenarios. this is what AFSPA is all about in a nutshell. In Nagaland, now because there was intelligence reports in the area, the army carried out this operation. However, if it was in any other city, let's say Delhi or Mumbai or any tier 2 city such as Bhopal, Jabalpur, then again army would need extra permissions to actually even go there, right? But this is a city on a road, army is carrying out an operation to kill people without any extra permission from any authority. They've had the intelligence and they could carry out. This is the distinction between a normal law and order area in any other part of the country and AFSPA. Okay, this is the special power that army has under AFSPA. Okay, so this is what we need to know about AFSPA in a nutshell. Who has carried out? Assam Rifles, paramilitary forces. Under what law? AFSPA. It has gone wrong. In regard to that, an inquiry has now been ordered. Okay, so this is the big news for us to understand. Then on the right hand side, Kerala, Bihar update COVID death data. This is in general different country, different state bodies, as they get to know about more, they are updating their databases about those who have passed because of COVID-19. Earlier they could have been listed as fatalities because of some other disease, but now they are being updated as COVID fatalities. Okay. Then on the news of COVID, Delhi has also reported its first Omicron variant case. There have been other areas of the country that have also reported. The total cases of Omicron variant is now 21. For us, with regard to Omicron, the name and the genealogy become very important. ठीक है, I keep telling you कि हमें number of cases से question नहीं आएगा, हमें question आएगा Omicron क्या है. Omicron is a variant of concern. ठीक है, it is a variant of concern of the coronavirus. What is the genealogy of it? B.1.1.529. Okay, this is what we have to remember. हमें individual patients के नाम नहीं याद करने हैं. ठीक है. Then we move on the other national news. Orissa bears brunt of the Jawad cyclone. So another tropical cyclone emerged in the Arabian Sea. It was not a severe, it weakened as a cyclone to a depression. Okay, so there are different categories of cyclones. All of this is explained on December 5 newspaper analysis. Okay, this will be uploaded after December 6, so keep an eye. For those who have no idea what cyclonic storms are, what are the details about it, please make sure that you watch December 5 newspaper analysis. Okay, then we move on. So for us, the name of the tropical cyclone is very important to be noted down. Okay, then we move on. Sri Lankan advisor links Pak lynching to Taliban takeover. A citizen of Sri Lanka was lynched, publicly lynched in Pakistan because of allegations of blasphemous behavior. In that regard, instant public justice. This is the disease of lynching that is now spreading throughout South Asia. It has been earlier reported in India. Similar cases have been reported in Afghanistan. Similar cases have been reported now in Pakistan. Now, in that regard, there is no specific central law to define what a lynching is and who can be held liable. Alright. Then we move on. Police. This is not important for us. What is important for us is the news on the third page. The news on the third page is very important. Judicial infrastructure, a neglected case. This is in regard to the increased spotlight that our Chief Justice of India has been creating on the state of judicial infrastructure. So much so that not only do we have vacancy, but we don't have adequate infrastructure also for different state and judicial complexes. What is the state of Indian judiciary infrastructure? The state is that today, as of today, we have 24,280 as sanctioned strength, but we have only 20,143, and 620 of them are rented ones. Okay, and in terms of housing complexes, there are merely 17,800 ones, of which 4,000 approximately are rented. Plus, 26% of court complexes do not have ladies' toilets also. Okay, so in this regard, the Chief Justice of India has been calling for an autonomous body that deals with funding. Why has he been calling for this? Because right now, even if the central government provides a scheme for funding of judicial infrastructure, 90% of it remains unused. So what is a centrally sponsored scheme? A centrally sponsored scheme stands as 60-40 center एक्सपेंडिचर. दैट इज अगर 100 रुपए खर्च करने हैं तो 60 रुपए केंद्र सरकार खर्च करती है और 40 रुपए राज्य सरकार खर्च करती है. बट इन नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स एंड हिमालयन यूनियन टेरिटरीज द एक्सपेंडिचर रेशियो इज 90-10. Even with that, if the total demand, total sanctioned money by the central government was at 981 crore, only 84 crore was used by the states. This shows that how low, even if funds are there, we are not using them to create judicial infrastructure. And what all, for us, what hampers this is 39A. Article 39A provides for access to judicial court complexes, court and judiciary, right to free legal aid and in terms of good legal services. That is what gets hampered under Article 39A is what we need to remember. Okay, so what has Chief Justice of India proposed? He has proposed a autonomous judicial infrastructure body such as NJAI. What is the name? National Judicial Infrastructure Authority of India. This will be an autonomous body that will take over the funds, see where is the requirement and provide it. Take it away from central government and state government and give it to this autonomous body. What it will do? अभी क्या है? Let's say there is judicial infrastructure. It falls under center states. Okay, they have the responsibility. What it will do? It will take away this responsibility and give it to NJIAI. They will then disperse to various states. Okay, जैसे राजस्थान उनको 50 crore की requirement है और for example there is 50% facility only, so now you plan that you will upgrade it to 60-70. UP के अंदर again you will upgrade facility. So the planning and everything, this will be an autonomous body. This is what the idea of NJIAI is. Take it away from center and states and put it directly to this body. This body will be responsible for carrying out these activities. Okay. It has also been bordered on the idea of NALSA. NALSA is the Legal Services Authority Act. Okay. Usually you will get to intern at NALSA, work at NALSA to provide free legal aid under Article 39A. Okay. In this regard, the key aspect is to provide autonomy and take away the control from center and state governments, because see, throughout the years of the past 30-40 years, the judicial infrastructure has lagged behind the state of requirements. Okay, So this structure is very important. The authority proposed by CGI is equally important. Okay, उसके बाद आते हैं बाकी न्यूज पे. नेशनल न्यूज में नथिंग ऑफ नोट. Then we come to the editorial section. The main editorial, the Omicron response is not making sense. This is to say, जो बात सबसे पहली बार भी करी गई है in major, we talked about it last week also, that regarding Omicron variant. How did we come to know about Omicron? It was reported by the scientists in South Africa. This variant was also detected in Netherlands, but they did not report it to the world. The South African and Botswanian government, they reported to the world, told WHO that see, this is a variant that is developing, it can be problematic. What has happened? The editorial tells that see, there is a problem. क्या होता है in such areas? Public sentiment is given far more precedence than scientific logic. Which is the key that is happening? What has happened? एक या दो case, there is no proof right now regarding Omicron variant that our vaccines are not going to work against it, or that it will lead to far more severe infection in breakthrough infections. That even if you have got vaccinated, you have had COVID, and you get COVID again, then also your vaccines will not work, you will fall sick. There is no science about it as of now. But because of this, what has happened? Panic has hit countries. Travel bans have happened. Requirements have been increased, burden, negative RT-PCR, multiple testing, multiple flow testing. All of this is happening. So the authors tell that see, this is the excessive reaction. And why has this excessive reaction happened? Because of two reasons. One is public sentiment is not being the one that is being triumphing over scientific logic, and the other is that there has been some amount of hyperbole that has been used while noting down the Omicron variant at WHO. That without real proof that how difficult it could be to manage the Omicron variant of COVID-19, panic has hit the countries. That without waiting for scientific studies, they are reacting and not taking a measured response. There is a difference the author brings out in reacting versus response. And the brunt of it is being faced by African people. That nowhere is it telling certain countries have approved booster doses, certain countries are now prioritizing booster doses over vaccine coverage. No one is actually focusing on universal vaccination or taking measured response. Okay, so for us, what becomes again important is the genealogy of the Omicron variant. Who designates variants? World Health Organization. That is the key part that we have to always remember. Okay. उसके बाद left side में क्या है? Boosters shot. Availability, coverage and scientific evidence should decide approval of booster shots. That should we have booster doses for people above the age of 60? Should we have booster doses for people with comorbidities now that the coronavirus is mutating further? Do we need more protection for those who are already protected to certain extent? So there is a balance now required. There are certain people who have not got the first dose. There are certain people who are waiting for their second dose. And then there are those people who are waiting to get a third dose now. So who should be prioritized? So this article states that first should be availability, then necessity, and third requirement. अगर ज़रूरत ही नहीं है, then why should we bother about this? Because see, vaccines are not made for free. Public funding is required. Public taxpayers' money is being used to provide for these vaccines. So if vaccines are being taken away from people who have not got first dose or second dose and being given to booster doses, then there has to be a real need to operate. Our health minister has responded in Lok Sabha that see, response regarding vaccines, booster doses will be taken upon scientific evidence. We will wait for scientific evidence to actually decide upon the same. And the same is for vaccines for the children also. Then the next is party and power. This is the one related to the Communist Party in Kerala, that they are not only the party in power, they are also a party which has active control over its cadre, and they have to ensure that law and order is maintained, and the government should not try to protect perpetrators of violence but actually act against it. Because when you are in government and someone, this is like a family event. See, whenever something goes wrong in the family, the most frequent responses try to cover it up. This is what should not be done, and the focus should be on actually trying to protect, not protect, but bring out the real culprit and punish them as per law and order requirements. So this is what it is calling. The third one is cooperation awaits its Raiffeisen or Raiffeisen movement. What is the Raiffeisen movement or Raiffeisen movement? Okay, so it is pronounced Raiffeisen. It's a German word, or Raiffeisen. Okay, what is it? Designating or pertaining to a form of cooperative banks or people's bank. 19th century Germany had here Raiffeisen as a economist. He popularized the idea of cooperative banking. Cooperative banking for the people of that area. Okay, and the idea was unlimited expenditure for the local people based on their requirements, based on their saving. The purpose of rural credit is to uplift people. The idea of his unlimited supply was based on a key aspect. What was it? That there is a connection between poverty and dependency. Those who are poor are also dependent. And to fight poverty, one should fight dependency first. That you will remain poor or someone will be remaining poor if and when those people are not able to assist themselves or they are dependent on A or B thing continuously. ठीक है, मान लीजिए कि आपको legal advice चाहिए. Alright, there are two ways. One, you can take your legal advice from a lawyer, pay him and get your work done. The other is, now that you are, let's say, preparing to become a legal counselor for someone, you will have to upskill yourself. आपको अपने skills को upgrade करना पड़ेगा, so that to eliminate what dependency on someone else. बार बार मुझसे पूछने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. आप न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस क्यों देखते हैं? You watch the newspaper analysis to get yourself well versed with current affairs. It reduces your time to spend on reading the newspaper on your own. It assists you in giving an insight about what kind this news is all about. अब न्यूज़पेपर में तो मेंशन नहीं था कि ये क्या है हिस्ट्री, बट मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, है ना? तो ये इंसाइट आपको अवेलेबल नहीं होता है ऑलरेडी. सो यू आर कर्बिंग ऑन योर डिपेंडेंसी, नॉलेज गैप फिल कर रहे हो आप अपना न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस से. सो राइफाइजन ही टॉक्ड अबाउट the idea, he came up with a 3S formula. That what do we have to do? हमें निर्भरता कम करनी. When the Prime Minister talks about Atmanirbhar Bharat, that we are self-reliant. We are not dependent on anyone for something. So self-help, self-governance and self-responsibility. So the key was local or rural areas में people have something, they have some goods, right? You could have pick up any area, they will have some value goods somewhere or the other. Okay, the key is to provide for assistance. Now usually क्या होता है इंडिया में rural areas में, there is money lender who provides money at a very expensive rate, or there are banks which require collateral, right? Now in both those regards, the villagers who are already poor have certain value goods but they are not exactly aligned to the needs of the two areas. एक जगह पे क्रेडिट मिलेगा बट वो इतना एक्सपेंसिव होगा, दूसरे में क्रेडिट चीप है बट वो अवेल करने की पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है. So this problem was faced by him also. So he popularized the idea of cooperative banking. In India, government control has only increased, violating core cooperative principle of political neutrality. So this is a criticism of the cooperative banking system of India. Okay. First, this talks about the history of cooperative banking. कि cooperative banking कहाँ से आई, ठीक है? So cooperative banking as an idea emerged in Germany. Okay. That Nicholson, referring to Frederick Raifenzen, who along with his compatriots Kurds Dalits in Germany pioneered cooperatives in Europe. The principles of self-help, self-government and self-responsibility. What did it do and how did this story come to India? This story, okay, this assistance, future of rural credit, मतलब पैसे देने का आने वाले समय में, those who will be being of the people, live among the people and yet by their intelligence, prescience and energy are above the people, that the core will be within the area. That is what cooperatives will be about. This was brought to India during the times of the British. Okay. That Gilbert Slater joining Madras University in 1915 as its first professor of economics. He brought this and then got this idea with John Mathey as an officer of special duty. John Mathey is a person who was on the first cabinet of independent India. Okay, he was the first Indian with a doctorate PhD from London School of Economics and had a good idea. Okay, and India's finance minister. So John Mathey, as I told you, pioneer. Now Verghese Kurian, the founder, the brainchild behind Amul, he is a nephew of John Mathey. Okay, so pioneer, knowledge flowing down in the family. Okay, the idea was cooperatives could be the key. So the article then points out that two problems happened here. First, while the cooperative movement picked up with Amul, okay, and we have success. Okay, cooperative became instruments of planning state action. We got success with Amul, Krishak Bharati Cooperative Limited. Globally, 7 of the top cooperatives by asset are from the financial sector. So this is a key success area. The idea of Raiffeisen became so successful that out of the 10, 7 of them are financial institutions of cooperative society. But in India क्या हुआ है? The registrar of cooperative societies that keeps a tab has not become a facilitator but has become a imposer. कि ऐसे नहीं करना है, ये करना है, this is the rule, this is how you have to follow, this is what will be done, these are the rules, I have set this rule, but totally ignoring the original idea of cooperatives. जैसे कि आज खादी, महात्मा गांधी popularized the idea of spinning khadi in his home. But आज अगर आपको authentic खादी चाहिए तो आपको एक specific government stall पे जाके खादी खरीदना होगा. Otherwise, आपका खादी is not authentic, government का खादी is authentic. Similarly with cooperatives. Cooperatives were supposed to be for each village or urban area differently. But हमारे यहाँ क्या हुआ है? Rural, urban अलग मॉडल है. But हर rural और urban area की अलग requirements होती. जैसे कि rural areas surrounding the capital region of Delhi are facilitators of the urban city of Delhi, which is 2 crore, almost the size of United Kingdom की population. So those rural areas have a different need, right? But distinct from a rural area in, let's say, a remote village in Gujarat or Rajasthan. But हमारे यहाँ क्या हुआ है? There has been a imposition of uniformity on cooperatives. कि there should be one type of regulation. This is what is being criticized. So first, the powers of RCS, his suggestion is need to be scaled. अब हम ये सब क्यों बात कर? हम इस साल इन दोनों चीजों की बात इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि एक, मिस्टर अमित शाह इज नाउ द न्यू मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कोऑपरेशन कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर, ठीक है. द सेकेंड इज, this is the 100th year, 100th birth anniversary of Verghese Kurian. This is why it is very important. Okay. The second part of it is that we need to reduce the overall powers that we have and increase cooperation. Okay, that regulation and supervision of cooperative banks should move to a new body from the Reserve Bank of India for urban and NABARD for rural banks. मतलब there should be distinction. Banking of different areas should be different. उनका regulation भी different होना चाहिए. Uniformly you cannot look at things, because look at Netherlands. So he cites the example of Netherlands. Lessons from Netherlands where cooperative banks owe their success to segmented market. Distinction in the market. Okay. Linkages and better synergies. So this is what we have to do, and we are still waiting for our Raiffeisen moment. That we need to find our own Raiffeisen, that we need to go beyond dependency to self-reliance and remove poverty but keeping the core principles of cooperative together. Okay? So Registrar of Cooperative Societies, which is governed by RBI, is a uniform imposition body. That needs to be done away with. Okay? Then we move on, the remarkable progress of Emirati women. United Arab Emirates, which is a collective of 12 emirs who created a country, celebrate their golden jubilee this year. Of its founding, UAE sends a message on gender equality. How are they sending a message on gender equality? 50% of their embassy staff in India is women. 30% of their ambassadors across the world are women. Half of the population, the UAE women, head most of the areas. And also, this article talks about how UAE had celebrated different areas of tolerance, religious tolerance. Okay, how is this identified? By two things. One, UAE is building one complex where all three Abrahamic religious spaces can be worshipped together. That is Christianity, Judaism and Islam. And UAE got a temple in their country which was inaugurated by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji for prayer of the Hindus who live in the country, to remark upon the idea of tolerance. To so much so that 2019 they celebrated the year of tolerance, that we have to be tolerant of all religions. However, look at Jerusalem, the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, जो इस साल मार्च में न्यूज में था. It is actually such a similar area. There are 3 structures in the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound which are related to all 3 Abrahamic religions. But that has become the hotbed of controversy because each community wants to control their part of area. Okay, the Muslim, until now it was with Jordan. They kept the control of the entire compound. The Jews are not allowed access inside it. In that regard, there have been violence that has been happening. So this is the idea that UAE has popularized. So what are the 2 things that they have constructed? So first, on Abu Dhabi Saadiyat Island, they are constructing the house. What is the house? The house for worship of all 3 religions. When was it built? The Abrahamic family house will be built with all 3 religions at Abu Dhabi's Saadiyat Island. Okay. Then they have also agreed to construction of a temple. Okay. Which is the temple? The one that Prime Minister Modi inaugurated in 2018. Okay. All this has been done under Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, that is Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. okay, who has been the driving force behind all this tolerance and the quest for tolerance, okay. So this is the key part that UAE has been talking about, alright. They have been the pioneer, they have been the beaming light vis-a-vis extremist religion in the entire Arabian Peninsula. So much so that in 2019 the Pope visited it, the head priest of the Cairo Mosque, they signed a document, that is document of human fraternity for world peace and living togetherness. They signed it together, okay. So but for us, the Saadiyat Island Abrahamic family house and the temples become important. Then on the right hand side, need to reopen Anganwadis. Anganwadis are those for children up to the age of 5. Those, a child's majority development as a human being happens at that level up to the age of 5. Therefore, assistance to child through Anganwadi is necessary. During COVID time, this system has been in neglect, is what we need to work on. Center reaches out to Naga insurgents. This is what the key conflict of Nagaland is. It is with the faction of Isaac Mohavian faction of the Nagaland Socialist Council of Nagaland. Okay, National Socialist Council of Nagaland, NSCM, Isaac Movian. The central government has reached out to them for a different area. There have been different ceasefire agreements that the government has also signed. We will do a detailed discussion on this, but we will wait for more details to come out, okay. But until now, NSCM IM is what you need to keep a note of, okay. Then we move on. On the other news, Hyderabad-based rocket men aim for the stars. They have become the first Indians to test fire a cryogenic engine. Cryogenic is liquid hydrogen oxygen used engine that is used for space travel, okay. So they have built India's first privately built cryogenic engine. Till now only ISRO had done it. What is the name of it? Dhawan 1. Okay, it has been done by Skyroot. What is the name of their organization? Skyroot. Okay, this is the key. Indian government has been supporting private sector cooperation in space technologies, okay. Then we move on, more political news, nothing of importance for us. Then we move on. US slams summary killings of ex-security forces by Taliban. This is in response to Taliban countering down heavily on ex-forces, okay, who were assisting the United States and their response against Taliban. So in that regard, this is the continuous conflict regarding Afghanistan. What happens there? The government of Taliban has not yet been recognized. This is the key conflict area, okay. Uske baad, then, as the Southeast Asian is known for, another volcanic eruption took place on Sunday there, okay. What volcanic eruption? Mount Sumeru in Indonesia, okay. The eruption was on the island of Java, okay. In that regard, 14 people have been killed, 11 villages damaged, okay. Then, so this is the key part, and then we have the news here on the left hand side, which is an update from Myanmar. So Myanmar right now is under General Min Aung Hlaing, who has done the military coup on February 1. February 1 ko military coup happened in Myanmar. Now Myanmar Junta chief met Suu Kyi's party stalwart. So he had told that the country will go back to democracy, a committed democracy in a year's time. So this is what his idea is. Now probably to sideline Aung San Suu Kyi and try to insert those who are supportive or sympathetic to his cause, okay, that a committed democracy, because Aung San Suu Kyi is not going to give in to military posturing, and she is their main rival. So you rather spring up a proxy against her to show to the world. This is the idea. We will talk about it more tomorrow. Then we move on. Argentina won the Junior Hockey World Cup in Orissa. This is their first one after the gap of 16 years. Germany had defeated India in the match for third place. India stood fourth in the Junior Hockey World Cup. We lost to France in the third place match. Okay. Junior Hockey World Cup is basically the one where after that the next step is to be part of the mains team. So Argentina won against Germany. That is the main news. Then we move on. PV Sindhu has won the silver. Where has she won the silver? At the Summit Clash of BVF World Series Finals. Okay, this was in Indonesia. She lost her match to An Se Young. Okay, 21-16, 21-12 in 2 straight sets. She lost the match to world number 6, that is South Korean IC Young. So silver medal for PV Sindhu. The more important news for us is the arms race towards hypersonic weapons. What is a hypersonic weapon? A hypersonic weapon is the one that travels 5 times the speed of sound. That is Mach 5. So this is maneuverable weapons can fly at speeds excess of Mach 5 times the speed of sound. Speed of sound is Mach 1. Speeds up to Mach 5 are supersonic and Mach 5 above are hypersonic. India has tested a missile that is capable of Mach 6. We have testing capabilities up to Mach 13. Okay, all of this is important because now the world is moving towards more and more hypersonic weapons. Why are they moving towards hypersonic weapons? Because China and different countries such as Russia have successfully tested different kinds of hypersonic missile. Russia has tested its Zircon hypersonic cruise missile from a submarine. Okay, 350-kilometer ranged missile. That is the key part. US has a very limited hypersonic missile system. Why? Because their missiles are not usually capable of carrying nuclear warheads. So now they have to upgrade their system because Russia, China, even India, our hypersonic missiles are capable of carrying nuclear warheads. Okay, so this is what the key part is in relation to hypersonic. The definition is the one that becomes most important. Okay, our hypersonic missile development is being tested by DRDO, which is the Defense Research Development Organization. Missile man APJ Abdul Kalam, he had pioneered that area of missiles in India. Okay, we have tested hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle program, which successfully tested Mach 6 speed scramjet engine. So we have an engine that is capable. We now need to build a missile towards it. Okay, then we move on to the limits of AI, the changing artificial intelligence लैंडस्केप. इसके अंदर एक नाम एलन ट्यूरिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इसके ऊपर एक Amazon प्राइम पे मूवी भी है, इमिटेशन गेम करके. यू कैन वॉच दिस मूवी फॉर दोज हु हैव नो आइडिया. ओके, इमिटेशन गेम. ओके, this was the first, you can say, AI machine that was developed during World War II. Okay, this was the key part for Germany's loss in the World War. Okay, so it's a very important aspect of artificial intelligence. Now, the question is, what can artificial intelligence do, or what they can think? In that regard, Google's DeepMind software is the one that is pushing the boundaries of this development. Okay, so with this, we conclude the newspaper analysis. Okay, I would like to remind all of you that the notes of the newspaper analysis for today, that is the definition of the Rifenzen movement and the explanation of AFSPA, all of it will be available on the link bit.ly/KUSHGK notes. Or if you want your notes, you can also join me on the Telegram app. इस टेलीग्राम ग्रुप के ऊपर आई विल शेयर the link to the notes on a daily basis. The schedule of the analysis of all the other classes is also available on the Telegram channel. So please make sure that you either find me on Telegram, that is Kushagra Goyal the legal game _Unacad, or you join me it through the link in the description box of this video. With that, what all do we have to note today? Today, first is AFSPA. Okay, then National Socialist Movement of Nagaland, so NCSM. This is the key faction for Nagas. Okay, peace talks with them. So the article after the editorials, that is the one where you will note down the information. ठीक है, उसके बाद then cooperatives, and the Registrar of Cooperative Societies, RCS reforms. Okay, then the next is Myanmar, and then hypersonic missiles. Okay, so this is the key that all information to be noted down in today's newspaper. Okay, उसके notes आपके पास होने चाहिए. And about National Judicial Infrastructure Authority of India, NJAI. Okay, the one on the 4th page of the newspaper. So make sure that you take down your notes about all of these 5 topics. Any doubts that you have about these topics, please ask in the comment section of the video. I will respond to those doubts tomorrow in tomorrow's newspaper analysis. Okay, on that note, I also want to remind all of you that if you are looking for specific preparation for your current affairs, then you can watch my special classes on current affairs. The link to them is in the description box. You can watch these classes n number of times, जितनी बार आपको कोई doubt है. Plus you can reach out to me about your doubts on the Telegram group. Okay, and if you are looking for dedicated online preparation for your examination, you don't have to look any further but subscribe to Unacademy. Unacademy is now beginning 2 new batches for CLAT 2023. The batch is Legal Source. It begins on 10th December, and the one for 2022 aspirants is on 8th December. Apart in these batches, you will also be able to participate in free test, that is every alternate Saturday on Unacademy Law Aptitude Test, and weekly T20 tests. Those are open for everyone. जैसे आज मंडे है, so the test will be on English. Okay, so make sure कि आप अपना टेस्ट रोज दे रहे हैं. All right, on that note, I will take your leave. Thank you so much, all of you. Please make sure that you ask your doubts in the comment section or in the Telegram group. On that note, thank you so much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, do subscribe to it. Thank you so much.